Hey everyone, this is Coach Tighe along with
Coach Hines.
and this is For What It's Worth Coaching Podcast. Last week we talked about leading by example physically.
Yes, sir.
This week we're going to be talking about leading by example, the mental aspect behind it.
Yeah.
And but first let's talk about our week.
Yeah,
You know?
I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
Did you have a good week?
We had a good week. I mean, we're actually getting together later today, which is nice.
So that's what I wanted to bring up.
Yeah.
So we mentioned before, Coach Ty and I live about a 5-minute walk from each other.
2-minute scooter ride.
Right. Could be a 10-minute car drive depending on traffic in California.
Right. And stoplights.
But is Christy making her chicken wings?
No, we're not making chicken wings today.
I'm so disappointed.
Yeah.
His wife, and I hope Jill doesn't listen to this episode, but she makes some great wings. I'm kind of disappointed now.
Well, actually, she makes the sauce. I actually do the wings.
All right, well, it's together.
Well, because I got a new Traeger.
That's right.
Smoke machine. Man, that thing just.
And you don't want to gift us with your wings tonight?
Maybe we'll talk about. I'll talk about when I get
hoping.
home.
If not, I may have to come up with some excuse. Something else came up.
Right.
Yeah, so we're excited. We're getting together tonight with our families and then another friend from church and his wife.
Same group that we met 5 years ago.
5 years ago
5 years
today.
ago. Yep.
I don't know if it was today, but it was 5 years ago. It was 5 years ago. Other than that, you're still recovering from your...
Yeah. Just had a post-surgery appointment with the doctor, and everything's good. So I'm going to be out of work for another week and a half, and then go back full duty. I'm pretty excited about it.
Nice.
I'm ready to go back, even though it's nice being home and taking a nice, relaxing and actually sleeping through a whole night.
Yeah.
It's really nice, but yeah, it's time to go back to work.
And for those of you that maybe this is your first episode listening or don't remember, I teach 4th grade and coach high school football. Coach Ty retired from the Navy a few years ago. Thank you again for your service.
Thank you.
And is an active firefighter here in San Diego and has done that for 14 years now.
14 years.
I think we'd both be remiss, this is not the episode, but with yesterday being the anniversary of September 11th, what are your thoughts or feelings? I mean, we could go a whole episode, but just where's your heart with that?
It's a sense of pride being part of such an awesome culture that is part of the United States, the firefighting service. But as far as that day in this history, being ex-military, retired military, and being a current firefighter, it's tough to watch sometimes. I know we watched what was it, the one with Nicolas Cage when he's the police officer, and they found the first 2 victims.
Yep.
One of the first 2, and it's tough not getting a little choked up about it.
Yeah.
Because especially in this service, something like that could happen at any moment, and it could be my best friend, could be me, the families that are going to be affected by it. Even though I belong to a pretty large department, everyone knows each other pretty well, and everyone feels the same way because it's a brother sisterhood type of thing. So it's just like sports.
Yep.
It's just like being part of that team. Something happens to that team member, it affects the whole team.
Yeah, I had yesterday right after work, I had scrolling through social media, and one of my players posted a video on Instagram and had that little sensitive content thing, but I knew it was based on 9/11, so I clicked on it, and it was just the footage that so many of us have seen, but certain individuals jumping out of the buildings,
Right.
choosing that over being burned, and I started getting legit crying, like emotional stuff, and it's a harrowing thought and moment.
It is.
So I want to thank all the first responders. I think especially in today's day and age, and not getting political here, but back then it was never forget. And September 12th was so powerful because there were flags everywhere, and I didn't feel like it was Republican or Democratic, conservative, liberal. It was just Americans being Americans with each other, loving each other.
100%.
So happy September 12th. In all seriousness, it's something you pray you never have to face again, an attack like that. But we need to get back to being a country united even with our differences.
Agreed. Yeah. Agreed.
So.
100%. That's actually a pretty good segue into what we're talking about today.
How so? Appreciate that.
Yeah. It's actually it's the mental toughness.
Yeah.
Being strong through adversity, especially when you are on a team that a losing season. You're coming off a losing season, but you have a lot of returners coming back, and a lot of new players coming in, probably apprehensive of what the team's all about, what happened last year, instead of beginning, okay, this is a new year, let's change this. Kind of like when you started your coaching job in Coronado. You were changing that culture. It was a different culture. It was a different atmosphere before you went there.
Yes.
And when you showed up there, you showed them that, hey, I'm here for you, and this is what we're working together as a goal. It may not be tomorrow that we reach that goal, but it's like a 5-year, 6-year, maybe hopefully 2-year. Be a little quicker than what you were hoping for, but get into like the first year we made. I was with you the first year, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and we made playoffs.
You were with me second year, actually.
Second year.
Because first year we did not. First year we only won 2 games.
Oh, okay. So, so the second year I came in, and then we ended up going to the playoffs.
We did.
Yeah.
It's funny. I was thinking this morning, so once again, Coach Tighe and I, when we're most prepared for this, we might text or talk briefly and say, hey, let's talk about this. And that's it. There's no agenda to it. And we just like having a conversation where 2 friends are sitting together and discussing life and sports and whatnot. For you, I know what my thought is, but what's the importance of mental toughness? Why talk about it on a podcast? Why is it important for baseball, football, all walks of life?
Because you're gonna fail a lot in sports, and the mental toughness behind it is learning from that moment of failure to turn it into success. And if you don't learn from that and be able to harness it, learn from it, and move on from it, you're not going to succeed later on. Because we all fail at one point or another. It may not be sports. It may be something else. Donald Trump had to file bankruptcy many of his companies, and look at him now.
Yeah.
Whether you like him or not.
Yep. And you think about the greatest athletes in all sports, most of them, and you can go through countless, and you'll know this, I'm not a baseball guy, but
not at all.
Babe Ruth, has records for home runs and stuff, but also struck out more than most players. Michael Jordan, we all know the story, didn't make his high school freshman team or JV team, whatever it was, and he's now one of the greatest to ever play the game.
Right.
For me, mental toughness really separates the good from the great. I think in football we often use the terms, looks like Tarzan, plays like Jane. And have you ever heard that?
Yeah. From you.
Yeah. Sorry. So, in certain players, I think, they have all the physical strength we talked about last week. It's important for players and coaches to be physically fit and take care of their bodies. But it's the mental part that really separates the good from the great.
Definitely.
To withstand those losing seasons not just in sports, but in life and facing the challenges that we all go through. Some of the best players I've ever played with and coached most of them were not the biggest or the fastest or the most talented, but it was the mental toughness.
Definitely.
And for me, let's go back a little bit, back and forth. For me, mental toughness, I think, is an umbrella that a lot of things fall under that. For me, one of them is coachability. And we talk about this from time to time, giving a pass to coaches that yell and scream and berate kids. So we're not talking about that. But when you do in a loving way get on a player,
yes,
whether it's because of things they're doing in the community they shouldn't be doing, or in the classroom or in practice, and it's heated sometimes, it's intense.
Some people call that constructive criticism.
Yeah, yep. And once again, not swearing at them, not tearing them down as people, but breaking down their barriers that they built up for themselves. I think a part of that mental toughness is being coachable. What do you got? What else?
Oh, man.
Yeah,
you always do
and
that.
There's a few,
Every single episode.
I think there's a few.
Mental toughness. That would be thick-skinned.
Yeah.
Very thick-skinned. No matter, like I told my oldest, he started playing football freshman year. I said, the coach is going to yell at you. Don't listen to him yelling. Listen to the words that are coming out of his mouth or her mouth. And that's one thing. You got to, as a player, be able to have thick skin, knowing they're going to get on you, and be able to hear what they're saying, not how they're saying it.
Yep, love that. Listen to the message, not the delivery.
Yes.
Yeah. I also think, it's funny, I have to laugh because, as Coach said, this is our 20th episode, and I think back to the first 2 or 3 episodes we would do, and I would put you on the spot, and we'd have to pause, record again, and you're doing well with that. Yeah, you're doing well with that.
Yeah.
I also think part of it is the mental aspects of the self-talk. I'm a firm believer that the most important conversations, spiritually, I think for both Coach Tighe and I, it is prayer through God. Outside of that, or in addition to that, I think the most important conversations we have are conversations that no one else hears.
No,
Conversations we have right here. And I read something years ago that talked about, speaking of Michael Jordan, not Michael Jackson, Michael Jordan, saying that every time he missed a free throw in practice or in a game, he would say to himself, "That's not like me."
Right.
And I love that because so often we say to ourselves, "Oh, I'm horrible at this." I, for years, would say to myself and say to others, "Hey, I forget your name. I'm horrible at names." And what was I doing? I was feeding that negative thought to myself and starting to believe that and buy that. So I had to, kind of flip the script and just tell myself, I usually remember names, and go that way. So I think part of mental toughness is the conversations we have with ourselves.
Not only that, really, like I tell kids when they're doing teamwork, is put yourself in the most tough situation as you're swinging the bat. You're up against Nolan Ryan or, Randy Johnson.
Coach Hines,
because, he throws strikes. But, you go there, you're up there, and it's like, it's 3-2, you're in the World Series, and every swing you take is a successful swing. Whether you're hitting it back up the middle, hitting it to right field, you always put yourself into a successful situation mentally.
Yeah.
And that way and be able to just like let go, okay, it didn't work out for me this time. Next time, this is what I did wrong. I'm going to make it better next time.
Love it. And that actually brings up a great thought. Well, I should say a great thought. It's my thought. So a great thought. A great point I just thought of.
Good thing we got this on camera because that doesn't happen very often at all.
No, it doesn't. I think we all know people, whether it's ourselves, people listening, or people we've coached, that just seem to have that innate leadership and mental toughness. Mm-hmm. That being said, do you believe that we as ourselves or as coaches can teach or improve upon our own or other mental toughness?
I think we can teach it, but I think it's going to be more taught as an action more than you got to do it this way. Mm-hmm. More than, okay, if a player you're under a leadership of a team and you're calm, cool, collected, know what you're talking about, able to explain what you want done, that's going to transfer over to them because they're going to remember that's how a coach talked to me or my parents talked to me. And then they're going to, hopefully, they use that and bring it on to whatever they're doing next.
Yep. I agree. I think you can definitely teach mental toughness. One of the reasons I love it, and I know you work out with your players as well, I love doing strength and conditioning with our guys, is because, in practices, we have our practice script. It's down to the minute. We've got 15 minutes for this, 10 for this, 12 for that, 20 for this. And although you connect with your players, you have to be on your A game.
Yeah, definitely.
Where in the off season with our players, we're still on our A game, but I can choose to work out with a player or two players through the entire workout. We have enough coaches in the weight room to monitor things and help out and really build those relationships. But one of my favorite things in practice, and we tell our players what we're doing, is we say, listen, we want to make practice, we want it to be fun for them. They're young men. But we want to make it so intense, controlled chaos, so there isn't a scenario or situation that can happen on game day that they haven't faced in practice. We do a thing called, well, I think all teams do, but situational football, where we say, hey, it's 3rd and 12, we got 20 seconds on the clock, we're on this yard line, no timeouts. What do we do? I think it's important to teach that.
Yeah, I think so. And one of definitely, and you want to make practice harder than the game. Yes. So when they go into the game, it's easy.
Yep.
Especially with memorizing the playbook, knowing what plays are being called, making sure you know what it is. That way, during the game, you're mentally checking it out, trying to think of what route you ran. That way, when you're running from the huddle to your position, okay, I'm running this route, and you're there. That way, you can get there, and you're reading the defense.
Yes.
Yep. So there's no question at all what the playbook is.
In the corner of the camera there, just saw my wife go by. I was going to make some joke, when you share an office with Joe Rogan and his staff, people walk in and out, but we're not there yet.
Right.
We're still in our home.
We're getting there.
Our home. Yeah.
We haven't signed a full contract yet.
And here she, look at this.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, come in. So, can I?
All right.
Oh, this one's yours.
No, it's not.
So there goes any respect I may have had. Thanks, son. Only the finest here. Jill, I still need my wedding ring. I take my wedding ring off every night, by the way.
Oh, you do?
And give it to my bride, and we recommit and say our vows again every morning.
Wow, that is something.
We don't.
I took mine off. I took mine off about 3 years ago, and I couldn't find it, and Christy found it yesterday.
I do get. So you were just on camera. Your hand. Thank you, hon. So I think it's important to create those situations. And man, you must do that. So once again, I teach fourth grade. I'm not creating high intensity, stressful situations. So when they take their spelling test on Friday, they're prepared for it.
I would love to see you give one of your football speeches right before a test.
It would be right before a test and right before I get fired.
Yep. Put it in the locker room so you can bang the locker. And
I do miss that, but my hands don't miss that.
Right.
I should get them ready for a test one day, practice test, but not tell them it's practice, and just be like, fire, and get them running out and panicking, and then give them a spelling word.
See what happens.
No, but in all seriousness, that must be something we haven't discussed. This as a firefighter, you do all the time with training. I would guess as training create situations where you are. So when you do go into a real fire situation or rescue or however you're serving the community, talk on that a little bit. Like, what do you guys do?
Well, basically, our training consists of it is tough, but we're at the point now where we got the foundation of firefighting, basic firefighting skills, pretty much down. And luckily, I work at a station that is pretty senior firefighters, senior captains, senior engineers, where we do know our job, but we want to get that muscle memory down to where we do put ourselves in little situations, but we get more into the more technical stuff as far as why this goes here, why is that, and then once in a while we'll throw a mattress on somebody. Okay, you're trapped.
Really?
Yeah, we'll throw matches, and then you go through our Maydays and disentanglement procedures and stuff. So that way
we're just checking your watch.
Because it vibrated. That's the only reason why.
When you bore your co-host, he checks his watch.
Right. So when's this over?
He's thinking about making those wings for tonight.
That's what I'm thinking. Am I going to have enough time? This guy keeps talking. But so that's what we do. We throw in little situations where we need to know what we're doing, and that way, when we do get in those situations where they're really intense, that we can stay calm, and that way we can voice where we're at, how much air we have left over. That way they can find us a lot faster. Yeah. And the calmer you are, our breathing slows down. You're able to see what's going on around you a little bit more. You don't get that tunnel vision. And then your breathing stops, because once you start panicking, anxiety sits in.
It's interesting because obviously you're talking about something very serious right now that is a matter of life and death.
Right.
But the similar related to sports is if we can create an intense, controlled but intense situation in practice. And literally, so hey, you're still breathing. You're still allowing your body to perform at its highest level and execute the plays. I think that's a great crossover. What do you do for those players? And I think we've all coached them. That just, I hate to use the word can't, for lack of better words, get to that point of mental toughness. They have the physical attributes, but they're not a team player, or they're not coachable, or you start to be down in the game by a touchdown or 3 or 4, and they just mentally pack it in. What do you do?
We always need an equipment manager.
Ouch!
I'm just kidding. It's one of those things that it's tough. There is a time where you as a coach, you have to be collectively as a team. You have to either scold them or praise them collective as a team. Players like that, I think you're going to have to bring to the side and talk to them, because as a coach, you're going to have to identify why they're going to be doing it. Is it just a character flaw in them? Is it something going on at home? Pretty much those two things.
Yeah, and I love that, because I think too often coaches get to the X's and O's, obviously, of whatever sport we coach. They get to the motivation part of it, whether it's positive motivation or fear-driven, which we're not fans of, obviously, but very seldom do they get to the heart of it. Why are they acting that way?
Right.
Like get the relationship to get deeper with that. We had a young man, I know you know him, a few years ago. I won't say his name, but very good quarterback, moved in. Now Coronado, once again, right here in San Diego, Coronado Island. We're blessed to have the naval base, North Island. Peninsula. It's we have the naval base, which is a blessing. The challenge, however, is families and players come and go. So that culture is always something. It's a living organism that we have to continue to work on, as I think it should be the case with all schools and teams, regardless.
Yes.
But we had a quarterback that moved in his junior year. Same player, good quarterback, amazing safety. Was moving away his senior year. Father got transferred, and I called him into my office, had a great conversation with him, And I remember saying to him, "What's one thing I want you to take away?" I loved it. He said, "Be where your feet are," because we talk about that often. Mm-hmm. I said, yes, but I said, what you personally, in addition to that, and he just had a blank. And once again, without saying his name, I remember looking at him saying, I said, "You're one of the most gifted players I've ever coached, but mentally here, you don't take coaching well." And he knew I was saying that. It was he and I alone in my office. I was saying it from a place of love. Mm-hmm. I wasn't saying it to embarrass or to put him down, but you're saying, "Hey, listen, you can play at the next level if you choose to." Yeah, he's actually going to college to play baseball. He's a dual sport athlete.
Smart.
Yeah. Well, for his body, he'll be very smart. Yeah. But it was that he just was, when things were great, he looked like the best team player, and when things started to not go our way, you saw a completely different side of him, and just it was something that I really do pray that he can continue to work on and develop that mental toughness.
Yeah.
Because I think mental toughness, and one of the great thing about sports is, Coach Tighe, we've talked about this before. I personally hate the saying "sports build character," because I've coached long enough. We've coached long enough where I've been with certain coaches that the last thing they do is teach character. I think sports teach character when coaches intentionally teach and model, as you often say, character. Mm-hmm. But if you learn those skills of mental toughness, it's not just going to help you win a game and be a better coach or a player. It's going to help you throughout life, in your job, in your relationships.
Right.
Because I don't think there's a marriage out there for a couple that's been married for more than 2 or 3 years. Once you are literally over that honeymoon stage, where you haven't come to blows with your spouse. I'm not talking about physically.
Yeah, but I think Jill could take you though.
Where is she? Of course she could.
She's within earshot.
Choke her out. But I think when you're in something for the long haul, you're gonna have ups and downs. You're gonna have challenges, and that mental toughness is not always a toughness that I think so often the sports world thinks of, that macho man toughness. It's that gentle toughness of saying, I don't need to be right all the time. Mm-hmm. I need to apologize now, whether it's to my coach, my player, my teammate, my employer, my spouse, whatever it is, and realize that mental toughness is sometimes that soft, quiet whisper, or that still small voice that allows you to realize the bigger picture,
right?
And just be best for your team or family or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely because you always got to work through those tough times.
Yeah, if you're gonna make it last.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And once that kid realizes, or
I thought you were gonna point to my pink drink. I'm like, come on. I think the camera
once that kid really realizes what his coach drinks.
This is black coffee, no sugar.
No sugar in that. But once he realizes, probably a little older age, where there is some type of not negative impact, but as far as failure as a team, and he goes back to that conversation with you, and then becomes that leader that we all knew was in him. And he's going, "Oh man, coach was right. It's so much easier." And it ends up being easier than yelling and getting mad at your pissed.
You can say pissed.
Yeah. So getting pissed off at your teammates or your coaches, whether it's the wrong play or not, you keep working at it, and then it's actually easier.
Yeah.
In the long run.
Yep.
Because everyone comes together a lot quicker, and they know that our leader of the team is not thrown off from a mistake.
Yeah. And one of the reasons that when we go full circle here, I like the way we do our podcast, and there's this. I mean, it's limitless to how people can set up what they do, how they do it, the agenda. I like kind of just going off the cuff here because I want to wrap up my final thoughts with something you just said. As far as failure, I think one of the greatest ways to develop mental toughness in each of us, players, coaches, parents, you name it, is to realize that failure is not a bad thing. Getting each of us, and I think this is once again, like culture, is a living organism that continues to grow and evolve. But failure is not a bad thing. Failure is a bad thing when you choose to throw up your hands and quit and blame others and not keep fighting through it. But failure, I think, can be one of the best platforms or catapults to success if you embrace what caused you to fail, whether it was intrinsic within yourself or some outside force or whatever it was, and realize, right, here's what I can control, here's what I can't control, and here's how I'm going to move forward.
Right. And that definitely needs to be taught, because too many kids and adults spiral out of control into this failure where they start becoming a victim. Mm-hmm. And, you get rid of that victim attitude and start taking self-responsibility. of what you just said and turning into that success.
Yeah, success.
Success. There it is.
But let's not end
I think
on
you
that.
like these conversations because I end up stuttering and you look like this amazing talker.
That's fantastic. So here's the deal. So we're going to wrap this up. We do want to give some shout outs to our sponsors. But before we do that, I would love to get a sponsor out there of some chicken wing company. I'm trying to plant some seeds again for tonight's.
Maybe Kirkland.
So by the way, I wanted. I don't know who texted who first about coming over, but I had mentioned to Coach Tighe. He reached out to me. I said, well, a little bonfire. And you reminded me that most of California's on fire right now.
Yeah.
And being a firefighter, that may be frowned upon.
Might be bad.
But you are a trained professional.
Yeah, but you
still don't want to?
No, okay. It's not going to happen.
So we could have a small fire in the Traeger.
The problem is like when I used to have a fire in my backyard, you want to throw my couch in it.
Well, nothing against your couch. I just like big fires.
I know you do.
I like big fires. You want to start with one of the shout outs, or do you want me to go first?
Go ahead and go first.
Yeah. GameStrat is a company that we at Coronado High School have used for a few years now. I said high school, very weird there. High school.
It's like me succeed. Whatever.
Yeah. It is an instant replay company. Ben and Tunch, the two creators, are amazing gentlemen. And I can text or call them anytime during the season or not, at any point in the day, and they get back to you like you're their only customer. And we're not. You know, they have a lot of schools. More and more schools are using them. But it's instant replay where I can correct a player's mistake or praise them for what they did and allow them to see it in real time right after the play instead of waiting till the next morning during film session. We have the sideline camera and the end zone camera. And if you haven't heard of GameStrat, check them out. I don't get anything for this. They do sponsor us, but I get nothing additional for this. But I mentioned that Coach Hines told you to check him out, and hopefully they won't block you.
As you can see by my hat, we're Muertos Coffee Company is sponsoring us as well. So if you go to muertoscoffeeco.com and use code SDFD25, you'll get a 15% discount. Now, this company is owned and operated by firefighters in California. As firefighter ran and operated to help firefighter organizations with firefighters that come down with cancer or get hurt on the job. So if you go there, 5% of your purchase, exactly, thank you, purchase will go to a darn it, I'm not getting. I gotta get good.
Well, this is live now, so it's not live, but we're recording. It's going to go to help and bless other people.
Yes, it definitely is to help firefighters, first responders, with monetarily, and they're all across the nation. I gotta get better now.
I love it.
No, it's horrible. Sorry.
As always, if you guys take anything out of this, and that's our prayer, just take one thing to help you be a better player, better person, better coach, better parent. If you could subscribe, share it with a friend, we'd appreciate it.
Definitely.
And just as we always say, take it for what it's worth.
Stay strong.